December 30th, 1955 comes along. James Dean enters his car, the Porsche Spyder, into a race taking place on October 2nd. Now, originally it was supposed to be towed to that destination, this Porsche, but the mechanic Rolf suggested that, hey, let's make sure it's all good to go on October 2nd. Let's drive down there ourselves and not have it get towed. Now, James wasn't some amateur race car driver. He was actually quite good. He'd taken first place a couple of times previously in some competitions. This was the car that he had entered. It was the little bastard, the Porsche Spyder. It was a metallic silver kind of color. Remember the color of this car because this weighs heavy on what happens with that crash coming up. Here is again another picture of the Spyder. This is James Dean in the driver's seat, Rolf, his mechanic, in the passenger seat. You kind of can't tell based off the picture, but you can get a good understanding on how small the car actually is. It's very small, very quick. James actually got pulled over for going 65 and a 55 the same day he crashed his car and ultimately passed away. But this is the car, the cursed car, that James was driving in that day. This is the road that James Dean would pass on. I believe this is actually the road that James Dean passed on in 1955. I'll try and paint the picture for you. It's very convoluted. There's better examples online, but it goes like this. James and his mechanic Rolf start off in the north of this picture and they're heading south, right? They're heading south, and the 24-year-old college student, Donald Turnipseed, who hit them, is veering off to the left of this picture, right? He's going onto that side and he's leaving. He's going to Fresno. Problem with that is this. There are no yield signs. There are no stop signs. Someone's got to brake, because if no one brakes, then someone's going to get hit. Now, James Dean realized the same thing that he was thinking in his head. This is going to become a collision. So James Dean's last words, according to the mechanic Ralph, who survived the crash, was that this guy has got to stop. He's got to see us. Donald did not see him, and unfortunately he tried turning and getting onto that road and going to Fresno. James tried doing a last-second swim move to avoid crashing into him. It did not work. It was a head-to-head collision. The mechanic Ralph was thrown from the passenger seat onto the ground below and surviving with injuries. James Dean and his car would do multiple cartwheels before settling against this fence not long after. Multiple folks would try and rush to James's aid and get him out of the car and try and save his life. James's foot was trapped in between two brake pedals. Both arms were broken. His neck was broken. He allegedly had his head over the side passenger door. He was unconscious. They did say, allegedly again, that had they applied the neck brace quicker, they would have been able to save his life and save himself from dying of a broken neck. He was then rushed to a hospital 29 miles away, and where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Oddly enough, if you look up one of James Dean's most famous quotes is to live fast, die young, and to have a good-looking corpse.